You guys are the diehards that stick around on a Sunday, holiday weekend. You could be in a boat on a lake somewhere, but no, you're here listening to this dipshit from Chicago spit some nerdy truths. Woo! Hi.
Woo!
I'm going to sit because this looks like a really comfy chair.
They
people look best when seated. No, they don't.
Ooh.
No, they don't.
Take a word for us.
There we go. Here we are.
All right. Well, hello, my friend.
Patty.
I know, this is so good because I've been, one of my side jobs, I'm working for his agent, so I've been at his table handler. This is the first time we got each other on stage, so
Yeah.
this is nice.
This is a first.
This is.
I
Usually
like
that's
this.
the opposite.
I know.
So anyway, too. Well, what I'd love to do is, whenever I get a solo talent like yourself, let's kind of go into the origin story.
Do it.
And in your case, it's a double-pronged sword. As I said, you are one of us, and we are one of you. We're geeks.
Hardcore.
Yes. So, what's the origin story behind, what were some of your early geek influences, things that you loved, and then what led you into writing and acting?
1974. 6-year-old Todd Stashwick, seated at his Aunt Charlotte's house as his cousin Tori puts a box on his lap. He opens that box, and there before him, in all their Mego glory, you know where this is going, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Woo! So 6-year-old T. Stashwick was, and then he also gave me the Enterprise. He's also the same cousin that introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, and so I've been pretending to be a Starfleet captain since I was 6. So people ask me, like, "Could you believe that you were a Starfleet captain?" I'm like, "Yeah, that totally tracks." I've been practicing for years. So yeah, it was always the plan, people. Always the plan.
When we say the Enterprise, you're talking about the bridge place.
The one that they spin around,
the
and click, at the boom, and it's also a
Yeah.
carrying case. If you know, you know.
Yeah, more or less. We had Marty, the founder of Mego, as a guest here a couple of times. Oh, he's wonderful.
And then that led to the mother of all franchises in 1977. 77 was a big year for me because you got your Atari, you got your. Are you weeping? Are you weeping? Am I moving you? Is this a very stirring conversation? I even saw that without my glasses, because at any rate, so 77 you had Star Wars, you had Led Zeppelin, you had Rankin and Bass Hobbit, Smokey and the Bandit, Atari, Dungeons and Dragons. And like I said, like the Rankin and Bass Hobbit really just launched me into a love of fantasy and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it was a golden era to be a nerd boy.
The Rankin Bass Tolkien specials are vastly underrated.
But if you know, you know. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And then that led to the Bakshi, Lord of the Rings, and Wizards, and all of that. Right. And then Excalibur and Dragon Slayer and
Where there's a whip,
Legend.
there's a way. That's an orc song, by the way, and then Return of the King.
One of the top 10 orc songs. Yeah, exactly. All those orc songs that
we have it on vinyl
that we know and love.
So you sort of fueled by this, and so did the Second City. So was it just acting, or were you bent towards comedy? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to be a Ghostbuster. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. That's all I wanted to be. I just wanted to be Bill Murray growing up. Because it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. That's all I wanted to be.
Hey, you, on the water ski. Ah.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to be. So, like, I was a Second City kid. I was a Saturday Night Live kid. So if you look at my career, you go, at some point, I'm either trying to be Venkman or trying to be Han Solo, and sometimes both at the same time. If you look at Deacon from 12 Monkeys, it's just Venkman and Han Solo with a little sociopath thrown in for good measure. But yeah, like I just was a funny boy. Like I was little. Like I was like 4'11" when I entered high school. October baby. So I was younger than everybody else. And so I drifted towards comedy and I drifted towards theater. And so that led to doing plays in high school, which led to being a theater major, which then led to me going, well, I want to be on Saturday Night Live because I want to wear a proton pack. And there's a syllogism here. And then ergo. And then I did Second City in Chicago after that. And then thinking I was going to be a half-hour sitcom or a sketch comedy boy. And then the first job that I booked when I came out to look for an apartment was a little show called Angel. Yeah, where I played the demon Voka who raised Darla. Yeah, in like season one of Angel. And then I have dark circles around my eyes and the voice of a garbage truck. So it kind of lent itself to I have resting villain face. Is that funny? See? Case in point. Yeah.
Because and again, you've done some just great work. I mean, you hit the ground running, and it seemed like casting directors liked you. But yeah, you were getting a lot of heavies.
Schizophrenic career in that like half my career was half-hour sitcoms. Will and Grace, Dharma and Greg, War at Home, Still Standing. I did all of that, and then the other half of I was being killed or put in handcuffs. Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Thank you. You wear one black Speedo on national television, I tell you. And I see Vincent all the time at these things now. D'Onofrio, we got to work together on that. And then, do you need help?
No.
Okay, good. You're struggling.
No, I'm
it's
loading
like you have
up my
like grandma's hard candy, like at the bottom of the purse.
Well, everybody who asks a question, we get to the face, gets a piece of candy. So I'm just loading up my pocket.
That's so nice. It's like parrots with pellets. Yeah. You did good. Here's a treat. They're grown-ups. They don't need candy to motivate their questions.
It's my.
They like candy. Yeah, no, I take that back.
No, they like candy.
Oh! This is Mardi Gras. Then I just started booking a lot of villain roles and a lot of like sci-fi and nerd shows, which the irony being, again, listing all my influences, I grew up watching the Nicholas Meyer Star Trek films, and I grew up watching the original Battlestar Galactica and all of that. And so it's really been a treat to make the kinds of things that I grew up pretending to be in my backyard. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And you're also a really good writer. Please tell us a little bit about Devil Inside.
So I was watching Supernatural one day, and I was like, they're going to spin off Misha and give him his own series. And then as I'm sitting there watching it, I went, screw that, I should get my own series, but not as Dracula. And so I was like, okay, well, what would that series be if he's an angel and he's walking around on Earth? I'm like, well, I play villains, so I'd be the devil. And what would happen if, like, the devil suddenly quit hell and went a wandering? And so like Bill Bixby's The Hulk. So I started noodling on this idea about, like, what if the devil gave up hell and tried to go straight? And if he didn't use his powers, because the people in hell are trying to drag him back, so if he didn't use his powers, he wouldn't show up on the radar. And so it's like it's just basically a man trying to change his life with a little bit of, trying to fight the devil inside. And so I was like, well, I was doing a show called Heroes at the time, and the guy, Dennis Calero, who was drawing the online comic for Heroes, was a fan of a show I did called The Riches that two people over here saw. And so he was drawing me, and then we met and ultimately decided we were going to collaborate. He's like, do you write? I said, I do. And he goes, hey, why don't I draw the comic, you write the comic, we'll put it out once a week. And we will put it out online for free. And then at the end of the year, we'll collect up all the strips and we'll print them and we'll take it to San Diego Comic-Con and we'll sell it. And we did that. And then after the first year, Universal Cable Productions, UCP, optioned it, and we tried to sell it as a TV series. We couldn't because horror had not been proven yet on the national stage. This was literally when Walking Dead was about to premiere, and so they passed on that, and they're like, but we had what was called a blind script deal. So they were like, hey, you could write. We'll pay you to just write a script of a different idea. So I pitched them this really fun idea about a family of space travelers, kind of like the Riches, like this clan of space travelers who were on the run from the Empire-ish. And so what they happened to do was they came across a derelict, kind of like a derelict Enterprise. And so they climbed aboard, they shaved off their beards, they put on the uniforms and pretended to be like Starfleet. So the elevator pitch is, what if Han Solo had to pretend to be Picard? And the show was called Clandestine. And they were like, we will buy that. So the Sci-Fi Channel bought it. We wrote it. The day we handed in our script, they fired our development exec, and he was the president of the network. So that went in the garbage. But they picked up a little show called 12 Monkeys, literally at the same time, which worked out well for me.
Yeah. 12 Monkey fans? Okay, all right.
They watch 12 Monkeys. That guy watches it.
That right away, too. Because we can safely say 12 Monkeys kind of got you Picard.
Well, yeah. Well, 12 Monkeys. So 12 Monkeys, if you haven't watched it, watch it. It's on Hulu. It is a brilliant, and I say this as one of you, it is a brilliant science fiction, pop culture, smart, romantic, scary, funny adventure. 4 seasons, Hulu out. Terry Matalas, the showrunner of 12 Monkeys, went on to showrun Picard, and he calls me up in the summer of 21. He goes, hey, I'm going to make you a Starfleet captain. I'm writing a part for you. And I said, that's awesome. I can't wait to get to see who plays it. Because I've been in this town long enough to know that when a role is written for you, somebody else gets it. Because that's just, because the network chimes in and the studio chimes in. They go, that's great, but we have a holding deal with this guy, so we're going to give it. But needless to say, he's like, nope, sit tight, it's going to happen. And sure enough, 2 weeks later, I was being fitted for my uniform and getting a tour of my bridge. So.
Sometimes dreams come true.
They in space. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely. And you did some other stuff. You did some writing for video games.
I'm currently writing on a game for Marvel called 1943: The Rise of Hydra. And it's set in 1943, occupied Paris, and the heroes that you may have heard of is a young Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Azuri, who was the Black Panther at the time in 1943. So and then there's a couple other characters. It's 4 characters, and it's punching Nazis. So I don't see the downside. Yeah.
So is there a drop date on that, or is it still
2025? 2025. If you Google Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, you can see an amazing trailer that they've put out that just came out recently. It's created by Amy Hennig, who created the Uncharted franchise. And I've been working with Amy since Uncharted 4. And then we worked on a Star Wars game for a few years that never actually got to come out, and then now we're working on this. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Absolutely. What's the best memory you made from Picard?
The best memory of being on Picard. Well, I mean, it's the friends you make along the way, Patty. I mean, truly, like, people go, like, that's truly the reality of it. So, I mean, I say this, and it sounds so hokey, but Star Trek is family, and it is family that introduced me to Star Trek, and then I went and worked on it, because I also worked on Enterprise. I was a Romulan disguised as a Vulcan, named Talek, and then it's the family that you make on set with the cast and crew and writers and directors, and then it's y'all. Like the Star Trek family is huge, and I've been in fandoms before, like Supernatural and The Originals, which is another show that I did, and that have very rabid fandoms, but nothing like the Star Trek fandom. So the memories, they're not done. I'm still making them. I mean, it's been tremendous. Star Trek has taken me around the world, literally. So, but actually on set, my favorite thing is to make Jerry Ryan laugh, because Jerry Ryan is a laugher and I'm a monkey. And so I had a burrito. There's one scene. Have you guys seen season 3 of Picard? Okay, so there's one scene where she's like being Seven of Nine, the hero, and she like locks a door behind me so that she can almost sacrifice herself to try and kick Vadic out of the airlock. Spoiler, or they like lower the thing. Anyway, she's there with young Jack Crusher, and so she says something very like heroic, and then I'm like, "Where are you going?" And then she closes the door in my face, and then she goes and is a big damn hero, and so we have to redo this over and over and over again because that's how television works. We just keep doing the scene over and over and over again. And so it'd always be like, the door would close, and then she would walk, and then the door would open, and we would reset, and then the door would close, and then the door would open, and we would reset, and then she's on the other side of the door. We wait for the door to open so she can come back in the room. This was going on and on and on and on. It's Groundhog Day. So I'm getting a little loopy. So knowing that she was going to be coming back after the door was closed, my gum, I put myself right here at the closed door so that when she walked up to it and they opened it, I went. So she's right here. She goes like this. She goes, "Oh, Jesus!" And then her laughter echoing. Another one of my favorite memories was when I met Brent Spiner. So I'm here in my captain's chair, and Patrick is here. And actually, that's not true. I met Brent drunk on an aircraft carrier in San Diego in like 2011. I don't think he remembers it, but I have photographic proof. So Patrick's here, and this is such a moment for a little nerd boy. Patrick's here, and Brent comes in. He's trying on his lenses. He's getting fitted for his new lenses. And Patrick's here, and I'm here, and Patrick goes, "Oh, have you met Todd Stashwick?" And then he leans in and he goes, "He's one of us." Like, I'm done. I can go home. I'm one of them. Whatever. So yeah, that was a really cool thing. That's a good memory, right?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so.
Yeah.
Well, bro, thank you for indulging my capricious curiosity. Jumping in, but about myself and everybody else, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for your talents and your professionalism, your performances, your writing. Like I said, because you're one of us that crossed over into that world, and you haven't forgotten your roots, and you've got a tremendous body of work. And
I would say it the other way around. It's because of this stuff. I mean, I was play acting as a kid. It's because I was a devout kid that lived in imagined worlds. That's what drove me into acting. So it's just, I've just spent my adult life living the childhood of my dreams. You know, it's just all right.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, because I firmly believe, and there's a philosopher named Alan Watts, and he talks about the essence of life is play. Like the reason that we exist is play. There's no other reason. We feed ourselves, we clothe ourselves, we work, we toilet jobs that we may or may not like, so that we can play. And what does that mean? For me, it was making up stories and playing characters and telling stories, because I was doing that then, I'm doing that now. For other people, it might be rock climbing, canoeing, you should get that. Fly fishing, baking, whatever it is, because it's that one of those. That's an amazing ring. I expect it to be avocado colored and have like a curly cord. And your mom's like going, "You have a call in the kitchen, Todd. What?" I'm playing Pitfall. If you know, you know. Right? But the essence of life is play. And so it's like you literally say, "Oh, it's what I live for." And that's actually true. It's the celebration of consciousness. I mean, as far as I know, I only go around the block once. And so I have from this time to this time, and it's a finite period of time. So everything I do is to sort of celebrate that consciousness and enjoy this moment that I get to look out of these eyes. So me playing with Planet of the Apes or Star Trek or Star Wars figures at 6 is no different than what I'm doing now. It is all an extension of the same thing, except I just get paid for it now. Yeah.
Woo! All right. Boom. Okay. All right.
And this is when I put on my glasses so that you guys don't look like a Monet painting anymore.
Who has to start us off? First, we'll get 2 pieces of candy. All right. Yeah, you get 2.
Two
Okay.
pieces of
That's
candy.
Right. That's absolutely. So what's your name?
My name's Shane.
What you got?
So this is kind of for you to make an elevator pitch at the same time. You've had a ton of guests play D&D with you.
Yeah.
From Matthew Lillard, Mika Burton, Jonathan Frakes.
Uh-huh.
Who, your elevator pitch, would be your dream D&D player with you?
Well, Gary. You know what that means. No, I mean, look, somebody said, "Who's your dream table?" And my dream table always ends up being, and this is so boring for you all, the people that I played with when I was 11. Like, that's my dream table. That's my gang, right? It's not having quote unquote a famous at the table. I don't play D&D because finish the sentence, Todd. These guys are like, "I am done. He's talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We are leaving. I'm taking my Steve from Blue's Clues shirt out of here because I am finished." Please tell Mr. Burns I said hello. I play D&D for me, and if you notice, I don't stream much. I'm not part, and I have a lot of friends who are amazing at that Twitch streaming, and they have, they're on Critical Role or Dimension 20 or these great things. I sort of reserve that energy because what he's talking about is, I recently did a Dungeons and Dragons game to raise money to fight childhood cancer. Yeah. One of my producers from Second City back in the day, they lost their child to cancer, and so I've run some half marathons for them, and I've also, so then they're like, "Hey, do you want to do anything else for this company called Pavlov?" And I said, "What if I ran a D&D game, and I get some of my Star Trek friends and my television friends to play as well?" We ended up raising $54,000 in 4 hours. And Jonathan was like, "Yeah, I'll play," and so I've done the game twice. I had Matthew Lillard, Tawny Newsome, Mika Burton, Jack Quaid, and then at the next game I had Jonathan Frakes, Will Wheaton, Deborah Ann Wool, and Michelle Hurd. And then I'm going to do another game, and I think someone whose name rhymes with Gates McFadden might be playing at that one. So there are people that I would love to get to do that with me. LeVar told me he will never do it, so I absolutely want to get LeVar. But there's people. there's people that I think would be great for you all to enjoy playing with, but bottom line, for me to play D&D, I want to play with my besties in the whole wide world and the people that I love the game with. Yeah. That's a great question.
Great question. Televar, the campaign adventure, is saving a library.
Pardon me?
Televar, the adventure, is saving a library.
Oh, Reading Rainbow. Yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah.
Yeah, set up the adventure, set up our library. Then maybe that'll hook him. So.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
hey,
all
what's
about.
your name?
My name's Brantley.
Hi.
So I absolutely love season 3 of Picard, saving the
Thanks.
galaxy through the power of nostalgia.
Right. Or
but-
people uniquely qualified because they were of a certain age and a ship that wasn't connected to a system that would have been overtaken by the Borg because they were of a certain age. See, they were uniquely qualified. It's so nice when the older people are actually important in the story. And there's a reason that you pull out the ship and not just member berries. There was a reason that ship was able to do it because the Borg could not sync the network. Hang on while I drop the mic.
I did have tears in my eyes on the Enterprise D reveal. Your character, when you popped up, I was just it was elevated. It was you just stood out. I mean, just immediately, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? So my question is, how much head were you given with that? Like, Metallis and the individual directors, did they just say, hey, go crazy with this, or did they have an idea of who this guy was?
So I was given the backstory of who he was and why he was the way with them. Now, as I had said before, Terry and I worked together on 12 Monkeys, so he knew what I'm bringing to the buffet. And half the writing staff were 12 Monkeys writers as well. So they knew they had been writing with my voice in mind and in their heads. They were calling him Captain Stashwick in the writer's room before I was invited. So when I finally got to set and I got those scripts and had my first, big scene, I felt like I had been playing this guy for years. And then when I take my swing and I do my thing, and I think I did the first thing I did might have been the dinner scene, and I did my first pass at the rehearsal, and you sort of kind of audition the tone, and then Terry's like, keep doing that all day, every day for the next 6 months. Go there. And I knew it was very un-Trek, the vibe of him. He was very laconic, and somebody described him as the first Gen X captain. I will take that mantle. And so it was Terry going, I know what Todd's bringing to the party, and then just backing up and giving me room to do it. And again, a humble brag. I'm going to say a bad word, so if there's kids in the audience, after I did the Wolf 359 speech, and again, that writing, and with Jonathan Frakes behind the camera that day, and with my scene partners, Patrick Stewart and Ed Spaliers, like, I was set up for success, right? And then given all the room, and Jonathan would let me redo the scene from the beginning every time, so that he would just give me an adjustment, and then I'd try it like this, and an adjustment, and try it like this. So I never had to come into the middle of it. But after I finished the scene, Patrick walks up and he just puts his hand on my arm, and I'm bragging here, and he goes, so fucking good. Like, thank you, Knight of the Realm.
Here.
I got candy! I got candy!
And
And I didn't even have to. Mardi Gras joke. Anyway.
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Ariel, and I'm partially here for the candy, but I also wanted to ask you, is there a type of alien on Star Trek that you've always wanted to play and haven't yet?
Tribble.
Ah.
No. Well, I got to play a Vulcan. I mean, I actually got to play a Romulan disguised as a Vulcan. So that was cool. So I've sat in the makeup chair before. For Buffy and Angel and when they cover you. I love the look because it is so retro and so 60s of Andorians. I love the blue with the antlers and the white hair. Those are super cool. I love Andorians because they're just so like cheesy, science pulpy. It's so I love Andorians. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
That I would want to be?
Tribble.
Well, I'm probably too little to be a Klingon, but
Yes. Kapla!
they're cool.
It's great.
You could do it. You absolutely do it. Yeah,
And you get the candy.
Yep, absolutely. So great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, Todd. We got to talk a couple
We
times
did.
yesterday. So I have a question that's kind of a corollary to what was asked before. So I remember the first time I watched Star Trek Picard and you came on scene. It was a dinner scene with Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart. And I know if I were acting in that scene, I'd be going, holy shit, it's Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes. What was that like playing Captain Shaw, who is just totally unimpressed by them and doesn't mind telling them no, doesn't mind telling them off? Like, what was that scene like for you as Todd Stashwick?
Well, Todd Stashwick was at work. You know what I mean? And so the best way to put it is, well, there's a couple ways. It'll lead into some story. When I first started watching Trek, it was the original series and the animated series, and then the Nicholas Meyer films. So that's my little boy Todd watching Star Trek, right? When I came to watch TNG, I was already out of college. And so I was a working actor or pursuing acting, watching it from the standpoint of an actor watching TV. So watching Patrick and watching Jonathan and watching LeVar and Dorn, I was watching it going, I'm gonna steal that, I'm gonna steal that, I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that. And so it was I was watching that show much more as a sci-fi fan, I thought it was great TV, but I was watching it more analytically. So it was exciting to get to work with these professionals. I never felt like I was like, I'm working with Worf. It was never that feeling because I've been in the industry for 30 years. I'm a 55-year-old man. So I know what it's like to step on sets with people who are established. So I never had that like I'm at a convention feeling, right? And I'd known Jonathan from Burn Notice, and I'd known Terry, so he was my showrunner, so it was a very warm, professional set. I was excited, but I wasn't like fanboying at all. It wasn't that kind of thing. And it's also context. So here's context. I once did a film called Jane Got a Gun, and I was shooting in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I was shooting with Ewan McGregor. And so Ewan and I, we had a day off, and this other actor, Boyd Holbrook, talented man, the three of us were like, let's go out shopping. I'm like, okay, let's go shopping. We're going to go they wanted to go shopping for Western clothes because they're in Santa Fe. I'm like, okay. So we're in this tiny little shop in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm there, and I'm just hanging out with my coworkers, and we're having a good time. And then around the corner in this tiny little shop walks Katie Sackhoff. And I'm paralyzed. Huge Battlestar fan. So my brain is going, Obi-Wan, we got to get out of here because Starbucks here. Let's go, Obi. Let's go, Obi-Wan. So context, like I meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm a huge fan of Ewan McGregor, but I'm also an actor acting with him. So meeting him, I'm meeting him as a coworker. But I have nothing in the wild. I'm not working with Katie Sackhoff. But had I met her on set, it would be a different story. But now she's like someone whose work I admire. I have no reason to talk to her. And like, these are hats. That's a Burr. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's all context. And so the context of stepping onto the set to work with Patrick and work with Jonathan was we were coworkers. Very excited to be there. But again, I've been acting for 30 years. And so, your job is to tell the story and play the character. And what was exciting was I now had life-size action figures to play with. Yeah, it was fun.
Great question. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's a great question.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, come on. Hey, what's your name?
Robert. What you got, Robert? Okay. Watching you in Picard and seeing the journey that Shaw took.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to write his story?
What do you mean, like in a novel form?
No. I mean, like for a series.
Would I write, like, would I want to be on the staff to write Shaw?
Yeah, and give him more of a story than what we just get. Like, what takes him.
I'd be more than happy to be part of that process. There are people, like the staff that wrote season 3 of Picard, I would want to work with them if they were going to continue. You know, it's funny because I don't own Shaw. Shaw is a group effort. Shaw is Terry and Chris and Kristen and all the people that wrote him. And then Shaw is also the makeup design. They made my mustache darker so that Franks and I, who didn't have the same gray beard, Shaw is also the uniform, also the lighting. Like, there's so much that goes into the creation of a character that I would want that team to then tell it forward, and I would love that discussion. I don't know if I single-handedly would want to go, and here's how I think it would be. I like writing with people, and I would leave it up to those people who've lived. They lived in his head long before I did. They are the composer, and I am the singer. Yeah.
Go. Thank you. Okay, we got time for these last 2 questions. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Amy.
Hi, Amy. What do you want to know?
Well, first of all, I want to say more people need to watch The Riches because it was amazing.
Thank you. Prepare to be
agree.
disappointed because it ends in a cliffhanger.
Which is
But The
sad.
Riches got canceled mid-season, but that season and a half are fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to write the rest of this down
That's fair.
because you said supernatural and it made my brain short out. So your devil idea, because you can't play Cass. Nobody can play Cass.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's-
No, and I wasn't
What-
saying I
what's-
wanted to play Cass.
No, I
What I
know
was
you
saying
didn't.
was, I don't think Misha didn't need my help. I want my own series.
Well-
It just got me thinking.
That's the one I want to know about. Has that gone past just thinking about it?
No, we wrote a comic book that there's a comic book of it that went online. We put it online for free once a week. So if you go to devilinsidecomic.com, you can read the first 3 books that we wrote. So that's free, and then we pitched it. We never took it, and like they didn't re-option it. They went and had us write that space show, so we never got to take it any further. No.
Okay. Well, thank you. Because
You're welcome.
you started talking about supernatural and my brain short.
Yeah,
out.
right,
What
right.
happened?
Carry on my wayward son. Yeah.
For you, so hey, it's our phone call guy. How you
Hi.
doing? What's your
That's the first thing. My name's Keith.
Hi, Keith.
And I was going to apologize for the phone call, but I'm going to
All
say
good.
this. I'm a baby boomer.
Yes.
Okay, my parents were depression babies.
Uh-huh.
You know, with depression babies, you didn't disobey what your parents told you.
Right.
Okay? Whatever, you know, they'd beat you, whatever.
Oh.
You know.
Are you okay?
I'm walking with a cane now, so
Yo.
what do you expect? You know,
Is that because you're...
No.
Okay.
But I told my son, don't leave the Comiccon. And he is a millennial.
Uh-huh.
So, sorry, millennials. I told him not to leave. He got my car and put somewhere. He just called me on the phone now and said our car is where it's ready again.
It's
So
what?
I want we got it out of wherever he had it put, you know. So I thought, it's your baby. You're
This is
gonna
a
get
really
it."
good story.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to make.
Is there a
your-
question?
No. Well, I was going to say that I'm well pleased with Picard the 3rd season,
Oh, thank you.
and but I wanted to apologize and at least give you the story.
Oh, for why
behind
the phone
story.
rang.
Yeah.
I completely spaced what we were talking about. I just thought you were sharing me a delightful story about you and your millennial son in the car. No, all is forgiven, man.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
You know,
We're
but
good.
I thought, us baby boomers, we didn't disobey our parents, and I told them not to take the car.
Did
off.
you hear that, folks?
And then I shut my phone off while we was in Kay's line in our picture. He sneaked and got my phone and turned my phone back on.
Oh, your son. Wait, George Takei turned your phone back on?
No, DJ
Yeah.
turned my phone back on.
Oof.
Right.
Well, I appreciate the apology. I hope everything works out with your son in his
All
car.
right. Well, one for you, one for the son.
Yay.
All right, there you go. All right, okay.
So before I leave you, I am doing. Who plays D&D here? Okay, that is an amazing cosplay right there. So I'm doing a really fun Kickstarter coming up in a couple weeks, and it's called Prog-Core Fantasy Dark Age of Fear. Going back to all those influences I was talking about, Rankin and Bass Hobbit, Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. That's cool. Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, Dragon Slayer, all that great Styx music and Kansas, and yeah, right? But we're doing a D&D Kickstarter. It's going to be an album. It's going to be a book. It's going to be music. There's going to be a candle. So a lot of cool things, and it kind of comes from my heart. And if you play D&D, if not, it's still going to be like an album and really cool stories. I have these postcards. These are the last ones I got. But if you go on the back, you point your camera at that, it'll take you. All you got to do is click notify me when it launches. If you're interested, I'm going to leave them up here, or should I just throw them at you? No, I'm going to leave them right here. And there's candy. But should we just toss it?
I'll bait the trap.
Look at that!
I'll
What?
bait the trap.
What? But yeah, so I think you'll dig it. If you're into dark fantasy, it's going to be a really cool project. And so that's me shamelessly self-promoting. Yeah.
Oklahoma City GalaxyCon 2024. This was Todd Stashwick, and that was our time. But before we go, we're going to invite everybody to come towards the stage, not on the stage, towards the stage, take a picture of our amazing guest, and all of you